my question to you is, what do you wish that you knew then when you were really first getting started that you feel like you know now and will never deviate from?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I think in the very beginning, the thing that I really needed to know and to hear is to do it my own way and to also keep it simple. I think that our brains want to jump to the most complicated thing that we want to do in the shortest amount of time that gives us the most growth. And especially if you're just starting out, your mind shouldn't necessarily be on how can I get the most success in the shortest amount of time. That's a very industrialism way of thinking, is like, how can we produce more, better, faster, stronger, right? It's how can I create sustainable growth and the growth that feels good to me, right? Because after a while, when I entered this coaching space and this like online entrepreneur community, which by the way, I didn't even know existed. I was creating like beauty content before this, and I thought I was the first social media coach to ever enter the game. I was like, oh, no, no, no. Oh, I am like the 1000th, like 1 millionth person to join, and everyone else is doing this. Realized that there were so many people that had so much to share. And so I think I was very overwhelmed in terms of how much content I was taking in. And then I would look to a couple of entrepreneurs and see, oh, they were successful in this way. And so I have to then follow what they did step by step. If I could go back and tell myself to just be able to do it in a way that felt good to me and then honor my body. Our body holds the codes to everything. And so if I were just to tap in and be able to recognize my energy, my nervous system, listen to my defined sacral center that was like lighting up and speaking to me, I would be able to realize, oh, I don't have to do it the way that she's doing it. I can pave a brand new way that is okay for me. And I think that that's a really powerful thing to recognize, especially in the very beginning, because you want to do the things that feel right to you. Because even if somebody else has done it in a specific way, A, doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, but B, there's also a type of energy, a way that they approach it in a way that might have worked perfectly for them. And you're meant to discover your own. And that gets to be the beauty of the journey.
Yes, that is so true. So, Tiffany, in this entire exploration where you've really come into understanding, number one, that you can create success all sorts of different ways, right? And there's nothing wrong with seeing what someone else is doing and getting inspired and creating something from that. However, there is this alignment piece that when you connect with and tap into it, it ends up creating something that you really can't imagine or fathom is possible, right? Like for you, this was such a fast, explosive transformation. And whether it takes a long time or fast really is a moot point. But I think part of what was important here was that you discovered the importance of alignment really early on, which was what allowed for you to quantum leap. It was what allowed you to explode in such a way. So I have another question. What did you think that success would look like when you achieved it? Did it feel like how you thought it would? And just as a little tag along, what does success actually look like and mean to you now?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a great question. In the very beginning, what I thought was success were these money milestones that people would constantly post on their stories, which first of all, there's nothing wrong with that. I believe in sharing your success and I believe in being really loud about it, especially as women and women of color. And so in my head, I was like, that is the pinnacle of success, to have these climbing money milestones that first started at 5K and then 10K and then 20K and then 50K, and expecting my business to be a very linear growth up. When in reality, especially when you're brand new to online entrepreneurship, it's going to look a lot like this. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And it's okay to actually intend and plan for some months where there's not going to be a lot of cash flow. It's okay to take a step back. Like, mind you, I'm still a single mom and I'm still in school. And so there are going to have to be some months where I am going a little bit like this with my revenue, and knowing that's okay. The biggest thing that I did back then in terms of success was attaching my worth to my money goals. So if I had a month where I had a lower cash flow, I was all over the place. I was questioning my success as a coach. I was questioning how good I was as an entrepreneur. And now, when that happens and when there is an up and down, and also I don't check it as rigorously and as consistently as I used to, just because I have so much faith in my business and in the universe, and just believing that I'm on the right path. And it has nothing to do with my worth anymore, like zero at all. And so I think those were the biggest things, was that I was making success mean and look a certain way for me. And we all do this. And we all do this based on what we're taught, what we see in other people, and the environments that we're in. So a lot of my strategies, a lot of the way that I was showing up was in this very wounded masculine, where I had picked up a lot of these systems of supremacy from colonialism, industrialism, the patriarchal values that our country is built on. And I applied all of it into my business, thinking I need to show up in this way that speaks to this level of privilege and this type of person in order for me to be successful. And then at some point, I was like, screw that. I'm going to create my own version of success and what that looks like for me in my business and my lifestyle. And I get to run with it in the way that I want to. That's also when I decided I get to show up in my business the way that I want to. Screw professionalism and the way that I'm meant to show up and the way that I should show up and things I should and shouldn't talk about. I'm going to show up as the most aligned and authentic version of me. And then I get to infuse that into my definition of success. And when you define your success, you also define what is failure. And
Mm.
so in my world, there is no such thing as failure. I get to take every single thing as a message. I get to take every single thing as a nudge to realign, or it was the stepping stone I needed to take in order to get into that next level, right? So everything for me is no longer attached to my worth. Success is now something that I get to define based on whatever container or launch or space that I felt channeled to share with the universe.
Oh, that's incredible. There's so many nuggets in there that I hope everyone is just sitting there with a pen and paper, frantically jotting all of those things down, because it's so true. We get to define what success means to us. And when we're making success mean a money goal or some external circumstance, then we automatically are creating scenarios where the majority of time we are, quote unquote, failing. But if we shift our perspective and create a vision of success that is connected more with our authenticity and who we're being every day, then there is no failure at all. And we get to activate and participate in our, what I call euphoric evolution. So, Tiffany, this is going to be my last question, I promise. How do you, or what do you think is your superpower? And when do you feel most in flow or in your zone of genius?
Yeah, I love that question. So for me, when I coach using human design. So that's something that I infuse with all of my clients. And for those of you who don't know, human design is your energetic blueprint. And it's the way that you show up and essentially dance with the other energies within the universe. And so for me, my superpower is taking my human design, my energy cycles, my way of showing up in alignment and allowing that to show up in the most authentic way possible. So essentially, my superpower, and that's what I teach my clients as well, is that there is never something outside of yourself. Like a spiritual awakening is never like trying somebody else's mask on or someone else's identity on. It's remembering who you are that we've been conditioned to forget. Like my spiritual awakenings in my life, and then like my, I guess I'm going to call them like business awakenings and my like alignment awakenings in my business, have never been, oh, let me try to show up as Makosi or someone else that I really look up to as much as I would want to. It is, how can I shed these layers of conditioning and come back to who I'm meant to be at my core? So, my superpower is actually deconditioning and releasing anything else, that any systems of supremacy, anything that society is trying to place onto us to make us believe about ourselves, to make us think about ourselves, and come back to who I'm supposed to be, how I'm supposed to show up in the way that I am now, in the skin that I am, and in the person that I look like, in my identity, and all of the things that make me, that in society we're conditioned to feel shame around or guilt around or any of those more uncomfortable emotions, and allowing that to really shine in a really vulnerable way. So I teach my clients this, I show up in alignment as this, and I want to remind you all, like, your superpower is you, right? It's never anything external. It is going deeper, it's dropping into your body and allowing that to unleash in the way that you're meant to.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. I completely resonate and feel like that is the medicine that's needed in the world right now. For me, I see that authenticity is the new spirituality, and not in just like the hokey, oh, be authentic way, but
Right.
that we actually are doing the process, allowing ourselves to let go and release all of the ways that we thought we had to, we should be, we have to be in order to achieve, right? Quote
Yeah.
unquote, achieve. And instead, we begin leading with who we are and we focus our attention on who we're being. And from that, allow our lives to unfold and express who we authentically are. And
Yeah.
magic happens when we do.
I love that so much.
Yes. Thank you again so much for taking this time. I know that everyone who listens to this is going to get so much incredible value from that, especially if they actually integrate it and use it, which we're going to encourage them to do.
Yeah.
Is there any last minute? I want to give you the floor. Is there anything that you're just feeling called to share, to put a little pin in it, or do you feel full? Like, yeah, everything is good. I said everything I need to say.
I think I've said everything. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And of course, I'll be seeing you soon.
Yes. Thank you.